In 1902, a movie based on the work of Jules Verne was created by Georges Méliès, a world pioneer in cinema. It was quite popular at the time, but eventually faded into obscurity. Many prints were lost, even some melted down for bullets. Devotees later found some surviving prints in their late 20s and early 30s, and were subsequently sold to the Museum of Modern Art in New York, where they remain to this day. What you probably didn't know was that these prints will probably outlast today's digital film projects. How could this be? Simple. We have never developed lasting digital standards. We have only strived for improving, always at the cost of long-term sustainability. Imagine that all computer servers across the world lose their data. It has already happened. Computing has only been available to the public for a brief time, but between its inception and now, much of the data has been lost. Even if the magnetic tape is still intact, we can't read it. Earlier computers have a much different way of encoding information. What can be done about this? We must develop a storage device with the capacity to encompass the entire internet and every storage drive on Earth. The medium's data retention should be measured in the tens and hundreds of thousands of years. The data should contain the instructions on how to create a read device, that's to say, a computer of whatever type, because a computer will have to be built to certain specifications thousands of years from now. You're probably asking, what could last so long? What could possibly store the entire internet and all the drives on Earth?
So this research is about alternative ways of storing data, digital data, for archival purposes with DNA.
DNA? Is that the same DNA that provides genetic instructions for all living organisms? Yes. Building on the previous research dating back to the late 80s, Professor George Church has found a way to utilize the T, A, and G nitrogen basis of DNA and transform it into the representation of ones and zeros. In a single gram of single-stranded DNA, he found a way to record 700 terabytes of data. A single pickup truck can hold the equivalent of 1 gigabyte of textbooks. So 700 terabytes would be the equivalent of 716,800 pickup trucks worth of textbooks. But wait, it gets even crazier. Professor Church didn't hit the maximum, not nearly. At its peak, a single gram of DNA can store 477,102,080 terabytes. Professor George Church stored 700. We've come a long way since that first single gigabyte. Can a crisis be silent? Could something as big as an epidemic go unnoticed? What would it take for the world to see that they are losing their culture, their history forever? We have such a crisis right now.